It was a regular morning on September 28, 2006 in Louisville, Kentucky. The city was waking up. People were heading to work, and a security guard in an apartment complex was just making his usual rounds. As he walked past a dark green Toyota Corolla parked near the dumpsters, he noticed it had been sitting there for days. Something about it felt off. The windows were tinted, the car was locked, but there was a faint wrong smell. He didn't think much of it at first, but something told him to call the police, just routine. Minutes later, when the officers arrived, they walked around the car looking for anything suspicious. They checked the plates, then decided to pop the trunk. Inside, curled up like a broken doll, was something. It was barely recognizable, decomposing from the summer heat. The officers took a step back, the stench hitting them all at once. One officer pulled out a flashlight, shining it inside. What they saw, it didn't make sense. Not yet. Just for the sake of clarity, let's talk about this girl. Her name is Emily. Emily was a sophomore at the University of Louisville. She had a normal day ahead of her. She had morning classes and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. She met up with her friends, went through her classes, and even stopped by the student center to grab lunch. It was just a regular, uneventful afternoon. She had plans to meet her friend later, but by the time evening came, she had gone out to run a few errands. She stopped at the gas station to fill up her car just as she had done it countless times before. The station was quiet, just a few cars scattered around it. She had a short exchange with a man at the pump who asked her for a lighter. The conversation was nothing out of the ordinary. She had no reason to think anything was amiss. He was just another face. They spoke casually for a few moments, then she continued on her way. The plan was simple: meet her friend and enjoy the evening. But that night, things didn't go as expected. Emily never made it to meet her friend. By the time her family began to worry, it was too late. They called the police and officers began searching for her. As the investigation progressed, they found a car parked for days in the lot behind an apartment complex. And that's when the discovery was made. Inside the trunk, they found Emily, her body curled up, barely recognizable. The decomposition from the summer heat had taken its toll. The police immediately began their investigation, but answers weren't coming quickly. The events surrounding Emily's death were just beginning to unfold, and the community was shaken by the sudden disappearance of a friendly young girl like Emily, who wasn't the type to disappear without a trace. But as the investigation continued, the disrupting truth began to surface. It wasn't just that Emily had gone missing. Something far darker was at play here. After examining the body and the surrounding evidence, the investigators discovered unsettling details. Emily's personal items, including her phone, were found missing. But what stood out most was a set of mysterious footprints found near the parking lot where the car had been found. The footprints led investigators to a nearby alley where they found signs of struggle, broken leaves, displaced gravel, and a trail that ended abruptly. But the most chilling discovery came when they examined the black Dodge Charger that had been seen near Emily just before her disappearance. Through the camera footage at the gas station, they identified the man who had approached her at the pump. After tracking down his information, they discovered his criminal record, a history of minor offenses. But most disruptingly, prior allegations of stalking and harassment. The man was brought in for questioning. At first, he claimed he had no idea who Emily was, but as evidence mounted, he began to crack. He confessed he had followed her after the gas station encounter. He said she had seemed distracted and too trusting. What started as a simple interaction turned into something darker. He admitted to abducting her and holding her against her will. After that, he left her in the trunk of the car where she slowly and tragically passed away. The truth came out piece by piece. Emily, an innocent young woman with an ordinary day ahead of her, had become a victim of the most unimaginable cruelty. How could something so horrific happen to a girl like Emily, so full of life in a city so familiar to all those who lived there? The answers were unsettling yet crucial. The truth had come to light. It was no longer a missing persons case. It was a brutal act that shattered the lives of everyone who knew her.